And welcome back to another edition of St. Louis 7, following an episode on OT with Oliver, wherever you get your podcast. Today's guest, and I had a ball, man, JC Corcoran. Appreciate the time.
You realize that they're seeing my picture now and they're all tuning out. So we can talk about anything because they're already gone.
Show them where you're working nowadays.
Oh, for people who would like to check out my morning show, 93.1 FM. If you have reception issues, go to the App Store. It's a free app. You just punch in the call letters KBDZ. It's KBDZ. And it's a free app. You'll hear me every morning. And then I do an oldies show on the weekend, too, on Sunday mornings for 2 hours. We play 60s, 70s stuff, and that's a lot of fun, too.
And for people that like classic rock and roll, the music's fantastic.
I program a lot of the music myself, and people seem to like it.
So question number one, a little bit of a twist because you did not go to high school in St. Louis. You move into town, 1984. When did you realize these people are pretty obsessed about where they went to high school?
Immediately? Yeah, there were a couple of things I noticed right away. Being from Chicago originally, I remember the day they brought in an Emo's Pizza, and I had only been in town a couple of weeks, and I remember John going, Jay, come here. He used to call me Jay. Jay, come here. This is St. Louis's best pizza. And I looked at it. I looked at these guys. I said, you're full of shit. Get out of here. And I left the room, and they're like, what? They didn't understand it. I'm used to pizzas that are like, that thick, My dad used to say, don't drop it on your foot. So, there's all those little idiosyncrasies. My first girlfriend was from Cahokia, and I couldn't understand why all there was is a river in between the two parts of the St. Louis area. I couldn't understand the whole thing about the defeatist attitude that a lot of people have in Metro East. About, she was like, I remember she said something like, well, you're the first guy from Missouri I ever dated. And I'm like, from Missouri? You can see your house from here. What are you talking about? I never got that. And then it was later on when you're like, okay, I mean, I can see sort of the cultural disparity a little bit here and everything. Yeah, but yeah, every town, and again, as we mentioned in the show we did a little while ago, and I moved 10 times in 9 years coming up in the business. Every city has its own little idiosyncrasies, and it's just stuff you got to get used to.
When you're in St. Louis, where do you go for deep dish?
I don't get deep dish in St. Louis. Pie does a pretty good one, but it's like, what you wouldn't go to New Orleans and order pasta. It's like part of the culture. Go eat something that is indigenous to that culture. And deep dish pizza is not indigenous to the St. Louis culture. So I eat it when I'm in Chicago.
Did you have a favorite concert at Mississippi Nights?
Oh, wow. No.
How about your favorite concert in St. Louis?
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Shortly after we began to accumulate popularity, which was pretty quick back in the summer of '84, I couldn't go down to the Landing anymore. I just couldn't go down there because people just got too crazy. And if they had enough of the loudmouth soup, then it was even worse. And I had a couple of close calls down there, and you just realize I can't do this. I just can't do it. So I didn't go to a lot of shows at Mississippi Nights. Not that I wouldn't have wanted to, but I had to stay off the Landing.
When you go to Drew's, what do you order?
Strawberry sundae, no nuts. Nuts in ice cream are the work of the devil. And I get a little cherry on top and, vanilla custard and some strawberries and a little bit of whipped cream and a cherry.
When you encounter 10 stop signs, how many do you roll?
Well, you're going to find this hard to believe, but I am terrified of the police. And I don't want to see them. So I follow all of the rules of the road. I observe speed limits. Yeah, I don't like encounters with the police. The ones I've had, and don't get me wrong, because I think being a cop is a really, really difficult job. And I have a healthy respect for anybody who can, and in some cases wants to do something that I know I couldn't do. So, and I have a couple of friends who are police officers. In fact, my father-in-law, 10 years on the motorcycle in the bad part of the city. Okay. So, he's got some stories from being a cop for 10 years in the city of St. Louis back in the day. And I got a lot of other guys in law enforcement who I consider good friends, everything like that. Well, my former co-host and producer, Karen Kelly, they're not together anymore, but Sam Dotson, Sam used to play Santa Claus for my two little girls when they were just toddlers. Sam would come over in a Santa Claus outfit. I always would tease him when the whole Ferguson thing was going on. I was like, this is a little more difficult than that, isn't it? But I've had some really, really unpleasant encounters with police who were misguided, and they thought that they were going to get some sort of gold star on their locker or something if they successfully took down J.C. Corcoran, because somebody came to them with some sort of cockamamie story about something that they said I did to them, which categorically never happened. And I had one cop who kept calling my boss, threatening. He said, if he doesn't turn himself in today, I'm going to arrest him on the air tomorrow. That's what this cocksucker said. One of these trooper guys down in beyond South County. He thought he was going to be a big star. And so I try to stay out of the crosshairs of the police.
Pre-COVID, when people came and visited you in St. Louis, where did you take them?
Well, it depended on who they were and where they were from. Because if they're from Chicago, well, this I got to say this inferiority complex thing, and that's what I think it is between St. Louis and Chicago. And I understand that people don't like the Cubs and they hate the Blackhawks and all that, and that's fine. But this whole idea that, constantly trying to compare St. Louis to Chicago is absurd. Chicago is a town of, I don't know, I think it's like about 11 million people now. And that doesn't even really count the entire, what they call Chicagoland area. You count all that, and now you're easily at 20 million people. And St. Louis is market number 22. The idea of even trying to compare the two cities is a stupid thing to do. It's a waste of time. They're completely dissimilar cities. And so if somebody comes to visit me, it depends on where they're from. If they're from a big city, I'll just take them to the good restaurants and I'll show them some fun things. If they're from a smaller town, well, then that's different. Yeah, then you show. But, we just had friends who were friends of ours in the short stint that I had in the Houston area about 7-8 years ago. And they live in Cleveland now. And they came to visit us a couple of years ago. They wanted to go to the top of the arch. We did that. They wanted to go to Crown Candy. Took them there. See what they had done. They had done all their research, and they had a whole list of places that they wanted to go. So I didn't really have to take them many places. They already knew where they wanted to go.
So again, J.C. Corcoran, his episode on OT with Oliver, wherever you get your podcast, had a ball. Went a little long, but it didn't feel like we were dragging it along. We just had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Brevity has never been my strong suit. So it's a good thing you ask short questions. Otherwise, it would have even been longer.
My last short question of the day, what made or makes St. Louis special to you?
Well, 3.5 decades of being there, got married twice. All three of my kids were born there. Met both of my wives there. The baseball, God, and now the Blues, obviously, but that's just still so fresh, and it almost doesn't seem real. But being a baseball lover, and I remember telling my dad this. My dad was, in his later years, was living vicariously through me, according to my sister. John and I just landed at spring training in Jupiter, Florida one year, and we didn't even go to the hotel yet. We just grabbed our stuff and went straight to the ballpark. And we're walking from the press area, which is in the right field corner. We're walking down the right field line towards the infield. And I'm walking along there and fumbling with my tape recorders and my wires. I'm looking down, and we're getting closer and closer. We're going to like hang out behind home plate a little bit because I think they're taking BP. And I hear this voice come out of the dugout, Mr. J.C. Corcoran. And I look over, like, who the hell is that? Lou Brock. Lou Brock is calling my name out. And I remember that night I called my dad. And I said, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. So for stuff like that, you know, and being able to not only meet, but actually become pretty good friends with a hero of mine like Bob Costas. Or, you know, before Joe stopped talking to me, you know, my relationship with him is really fun. And gosh, you know, like every once in a while, I'll have to send out a resume for some reason. And I just sent you one the other day because I figured, okay, there might be some stuff that I did that he doesn't know about. So, you know, it's just that send out it's not a resume, a bio. Send out the big bio here. Sorry, that's my ride. No, told you never to call me here. That happened day before yesterday, where the phone rang while I was right in the middle of the radio show, and just as a bit, I yelled, "I told you never to call me here." So the show's over, but I said it really loud and really, really angrily. The show's over, and I walk back on. My wife sitting there goes, "Who did you tell never to call you here?" It's like, it was a bit. It's not like some girlfriend from before I met you I'm secretly carrying on with. So occupational hazard, working from a home studio. That's the way it goes.
But you're in spring training and Lou Brock knows your name.
Oh yeah. And you know, just stuff like that where, you know, look, I got to see the world. You know, I got to go all over the world with this job. The Abbey Road Studios in London. We got to go to Moscow with the TV part of the job. And by the way, sometime invite me back, but we'll only tell TV stories.
Fantastic.
Because whoa. So make a little mental note that sometime when somebody cancels on you or something, you're like, I need a show. Oh, JC said, we'll just talk about TV stories alone. Oh, man. Better than a lot of the radio stories. So, yeah, I got to see the world, and on somebody else's dime, I got to meet people that were my heroes. You know, Bob Einstein, Super Dave Osborne. He and I became really, really good friends. Getting to meet his brother, Albert Brooks. Getting to, you know, take part in these show business things in New York and LA, these premieres, and be on national TV a couple of times. All these things that, you know, as you're a kid in high school and then college, and you're like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And people are laughing, going, yeah, you'll do all that. Sure you will. You'll be making $175 a week working in Freeport, Illinois. Sort of have gotten an opportunity to do all those things. And I tried to not embarrass myself or the city of St. Louis. And I tried to chronicle the stuff as best I could with pictures and extensive notes and things that I can call back, you know, when something, hey, where is this thing? Hold on. Oh, here it is right here. Hold on. Since this is video, I'll show this to you. I kept can you see that?
I can.
Okay. I kept all of my yearly planners all the way back to 1982. And then what I did is I took a blank calendar and I chose each date. I chose all the things that happened on that particular date. So I can call these things back and, geez, you know, if I'm ever struck with Alzheimer's or something, I can go to this thing and people can say, yeah, don't you remember what is today's date? Today, is this the 9th? What is today? The 9th? 8th? 9th? So let's see here. I was in Key West, Florida on this date in 1989, doing the interviews and seeing the movie License to Kill. It's when they had Timothy Dalton as James Bond. In 1995, I was in Los Angeles on this date for the movie Operation Dumbo Drop. First time I interviewed Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Tomorrow, the 9th, 1998, I was in Los Angeles interviewing Jamie Lee Curtis for Halloween H2O. Met Lindsay Lohan on July 10th, 1998 for The Parrot Trap. So, I got all this stuff, all of these things, and I've got notes, extensive notes and everything like that. I've been dragging this stuff around. Jeez, if I have to move, it's going to cost me $70,000 to drag all this crap. Thank God for digitation, because I've been digitizing as much of this stuff as possible. That was a very, very long answer to a very, very short question. Before we started, David goes, well, this will take about 4 minutes. What did it take? Where are we right now? 23.
It's a warm 23 though. and by the way, I gotta end it with this, with all your note taking and everything. Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh's got nothing on you, man.
I don't have a friend named Squee.
Had a ball, JC. Stay healthy, stay good.
Thank you.